So aspect ratios, the ratio of the height to the width of any film or screen, whether that's nothing, 1.85, 2.35, or anything, it all depends on the film, the scene, the shot, and the vibe that you are going for. Now I'm gonna go over a few of them and I'm gonna teach you how to create them in Premiere Pro. So we're gonna be working with 3 different aspect ratios. We're working with a 16:9, a 1.85:1, and a 2.35:1 aspect ratio. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of others, but these are 3 very common ones used in TV, film, and just the industry today. Starting with 16:9 aspect ratio, referring to 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. This aspect ratio captures everything within your scene. So if you have a wide landscape and you have something tall, such as maybe some tall buildings, or you want the full height of a person with a nice wide landscape, this is a typical aspect ratio used. It's also typical because it's our best optic field of view when we talk about realism. So what we actually see is close to 16:9. So you'll often see it in a realistic type of film. So now 1.85:1 is referring to 1920. Since we aren't cropping the length, we're only going to be cropping the height. So 1920 refers to the 1.85, and then we got to figure out what our 1 refers to for the height here. So if you were to actually take 1920 divided by 1.85, you are going to get about 1,038 pixels, which is going to end up cropping 2% from the top and 2% from the bottom of our clip. So a few different ways to go about doing this is to come up to new item, black video, hit OK, drag that in, scrub it out to the length, make a duplicate by either Control-C, Control-V, or holding Alt, and then let's come up to Effects and Controls and search for Crop. Come and drag it on both clips here, and let's go to the effect controls of the crop, and let's go to the top and go 98, and come down to the bottom clip, and let's go bottom, and let's go 98. So now what we're gonna see is we're gonna see a 2% crop on the top and bottom. So now, obviously, it's really not that much different. It's kind of the same as 16:9, where it creates the sense of realism, where you're actually seeing what you want to see from an optical sense of view. You're capturing a ton of information in the height and a ton of information in the length of your clip. Now, another way which I recommend to actually create this crop, instead of adding black bars that you can turn on and off, also commonly referred to as cinematic black bars, is to actually, let's turn these off. And if you were to come up to sequence settings, remember we did that math earlier, so we know this is about 1038 pixels in the height. So if we were to hit OK, now it actually cropped our sequence. So no matter what clips we drag in, it's automatically going to crop this video. So now if we were to look at 16:9 to 1.85, you notice there's a slight difference, but not too much. Moving on to 2.35, which, as you can see, again, there's nothing here, but if we were to copy these black videos, hit paste, come up. Now remember, we have, let's turn these off for a second. We have 2.35 referring to our 1920 pixels, and we have 1 referring to some amount of pixels in the height here. So once again, if we were to take 1920 and divide it by 2.35, you're going to get an amount of pixels of 817, which is going to end up being about a 24% overall crop of your sequence here. So if we were to come into this, we don't want to crop 24% from the top, but we want to crop half of that. So you're going to come down and do 88%, and then we're going to come and do 88% on the bottom as well. And if we were to turn these on, this is representing a 2.35:1 aspect ratio, also known as 1920 by about 817 pixels. So you can see how much information this actually takes away from the height of our clip here. And this aspect ratio is typically used for more fantasy type films where you're not used to seeing a scene or video with this aspect ratio. It gives you a weird sense of optical view. So now, just like we did on the 1.85, we can also do on the 2.35 and turn off these black videos, come up to sequence settings, and actually change the pixels to 817. Hit OK. Okay, now we actually have the crop with our sequence and not just overlaying some black bars. So hopefully you know what to use for your next film. Stay classy.